The Gemara Bava Metzia tells us that the holy Amora Rish Lakish wasn't always a holy Amora, but rather started as a bandit. Upon a chance encounter with Rabbi Yochanan, where Rabbi Yochanan stung him with the words Chelech le'oraisa, so then Rish Lakish changed course and became the holy Rosh Yeshiva that we now learn about day in and day out in the Beis Medrash. Rabbi Yochanan inspired Rish Lakish not to change his persona, not to become a different person, but rather Chelech le'oraisa, to take the strengths that he has and to use those for the sake of Torah. And as the Gemara continues to describe, Rish Lakish's strength was that when Rabbi Yochanan, who was the Gadol Hador, would come up with a Torah idea, a Torah theory, so Rish Lakish would then attack him. Where did Rish Lakish get this midah, this characteristic of going on the attack and not taking anything at face value? He learned that in his earlier life when he was a bandit. Bandits attack, Rish Lakish in the Beis Medrash attacks. Chelech le'oraisa. Rish Lakish stayed the same person. He just channeled his kochos, his strengths, his talents for Torah. This, says Rev Druk, may answer a question in the beginning of this week's Parsha. The Torah starts telling us that in the census, in the counting of Bnei Yisrael, each Jew would give a half shekel, and the point would be lechaper al nafshosechem. Moshe had trouble understanding what did this half shekel look like, so Hashem showed him a matbea of Eish, a coin of fire. At other points in the Torah, Moshe has trouble understanding. Let's say the menorah, for example, or the new moon. Moshe had trouble understanding what these things were. The menorah was made out of one piece of gold. It had to be beaten out of that same initial piece. It's very intricate. We can understand why Moshe might have had a hard time understanding what the menorah looked like. But who doesn't know what a coin is? Every generation, every civilization dealt with coins. How did Moshe not know what a half shekel was? So says Rev Druk, that wasn't really what the issue was. Of course Moshe knew what a coin is. However, what Moshe didn't understand was l'chaper al nafshosechem. How would it be that this coin would be the one that would gain kapara for the people? What was it about giving this coin that got everybody forgiveness? And when Hashem showed him it was the matbea of Eish, so then Moshe understood. Rav Druk gives a number of explanations. What was it about the matbea of Eish? What was it that clarified for Moshe what exactly was happening? But one that I would like to select is the following. That Eish, fire, has the characteristic of positive and negative. Fire illuminates. Fire heats. Fire gives light and is productive. But at the same time, fire is also destructive. That same fire that brought light and heat that are so necessary, that same fire is the one that can burn a house down, Rachmana litzlan, or bring other damage to somebody's life. The point that Hashem wants us to realize is that the same way that fire can go towards the positive, constructive, or the negative, destructive, so too we as people. We can take our midos, our characteristics, we could use those for positive, for constructive, or for negative, destructive. Same thing with money. We could use our money for positive purposes to build and construct, or we could hoard money. We could use money as a reason to enforce our power over other people. It's the same exact characteristic. It's the same exact strength. It's the same exact midah that can go in two directions. And once we realize that crossroads, when we realize that the same power that's inside of us can be used either way, so then that realization, and of course the choice to use it for constructive purposes, that's l'chaper al nafshosechem. That realization of how do we become contributing members of society, that realization is what gains the kapara. Yiratzon of Nevinu Shabbat Shemaim HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help us realize who we are and what we are all about, and through that, make the choices that we need to be constructive and contributing. Have a great Shabbos.